And I'm really glad that Andrea had notes, because I also have notes, because I could ramble on forever and ever and be really awkward. So yeah, thank you so much for having me. Thanks so much to everybody who helped organize this event, and for all of you for coming out on this very cold Wednesday evening. Yes, thank you. I never know what day it is anymore. I just show up at the shop every day at 6:30. So yeah, my name is Kate Pepler, and I've recently just opened up the Tare Shop, which is just around the corner from here. Yeah! So if you haven't heard, it is Halifax's first and Nova Scotia's first package-free bulk store, coffee shop, and community space. So come check it out if you haven't already. But that's not what I'm going to talk to you about tonight. I thought I'd share a little bit about my background, how I got here, and a term I've been hearing a lot about in the news recently, eco-depression or eco-anxiety. So I grew up in Toronto. I grew up on Toronto Island, which is a magical island just 5 kilometers from downtown Toronto. So I took a ferry boat every day going to school after grade 7. Their houses take up about 5% of the island, and then the rest is basically just parkland. So I grew up running around outside, playing in and on the water. There is a school that goes up until grade 6 there. And until my last year attending that school, the Island Public School, there was no play structure in the playground. It was just like a field with some trees. Lake Ontario was right there. So grew up running around, playing outside. We played ice soccer, which is probably a little dangerous for a bunch of 6-year-olds to be playing. And it was incredible. So I came when I was 18, I was really fortunate to go on a 2-month canoe trip through the Northwest Territories. So there was 11 others, so there's 12 of us in total, and it was the hardest, coldest, wettest 2 months, 56 days of my life. We didn't see anybody else for the entire 56 days. And I feel like in the Northwest Territories, in my limited impression, it's either very hot and very buggy or very cold, wet, and no bugs. So I had the cold, wet, no bugs. So I was cold, we were cold, wet. It was really hard, but it was really incredible, and I'll never forget those 2 months. A couple days after getting back from the trip, I moved out to Halifax. So I came here in 2011, and I went to Dal, and I ended up completing a double major in sustainability, environmental science, and marine biology. And it was an incredible 5 years. I also got to go to Haligonians, which is a large group of islands off the coast of BC and Alaska, and it was amazing. And my 4 months studying there made me fall even more in love with the ocean and our environment. And it was incredible. Where am I? Yeah, so I learned so much throughout my 5 years at Dalhousie. But it was all the doom and gloom narrative. So it really felt as though I spent more time learning about all of the ways we are wreaking havoc on the planet, and there was no tangible ways that we can solve the problems and easy solutions that we can do. Or maybe not easy, but solutions. So after graduating, I was pushed out into the real world with a huge weight on my shoulders and an immense feeling of despair. How could I, as one individual, even begin to make a difference? So even throughout my studies, I remember feeling this sense of like hopelessness and despair and depression, which is now a term that I have come to recognize as eco-depression or eco-anxiety. So as a way to drag myself out of this slump, after graduating, I started a website called Our Positive Planet, which is a platform to share environmental success stories to inspire action. So when I hear the doom and gloom constantly, I kind of just want to curl up, Netflix, tune out, forget that there's any issues anywhere. But when I read about other people doing inspiring things, that's when I get inspired. So it started with just me writing, and it was probably only my mom and dad reading. But now it's grown, so there's over 60 writers, or have been over 60 writers from all over the world. And a lot of them had similar stories to mine. So they had done environmental sciences or studies in their schooling. And were also overwhelmed and didn't know how to move forward and how to make a difference, and really needed a positive outlet. So I'm not going to lie, So Our Positive Planet, that's how I got into the zero waste movement, and that's where the idea for the Tare Shop sparked. But not every day I come across as a fairly positive, happy, cheerful person. But recently I've been in like a big slump of that like eco-depression and like what's the point of anything mindset. So it can feel really hard and impossible, daunting task we have ahead of ourselves. And like, how can people still be denying climate change? Like, the facts are there. Come on, people. I think that when we're depressed, we feel powerless and alone, and it can be a really isolating and scary place to be. So how can you act when you feel powerless? That's why it's so crucial to create community like we are tonight, talk about issues, have conversations, support each other, and find solutions to make change. I think one of the easiest, in my opinion, one of the easiest and most overlooked things that individuals can do to make a difference is write your elected officials at all levels of government, write your favorite stores, your favorite businesses, your favorite companies, industries, and ask them what they're going to do to make a difference and how they're going to be environmental leaders. There have been incredible movements all around the world, a lot of them youth-led, of people trying to make a difference. So there's 16-year-old Greta, who's rallying youth from around the world to stand up and fight for the environment. She's spoken or addressed the UN and done a TED Talk, like she's my 16-year-old hero. There's 2 young girls from Bali who have been petitioning their government and have started a campaign called Bye Bye Plastic Bags, and they've become successful, so Bali is now banning plastic bags. Even in my own community of Toronto Island, people have gotten together to rethink Toronto Island's waste and to educate and inspire the community to create a change. And just today, 2 local good pieces of news. So I saw Birdie's Bread is no longer using plastic wrap to portion their butter. They've switched to parchment paper, which is compostable. And the town council in Lunenburg has announced that they're going to work with Plastic-Free Lunenburg to ban 7 different types of single-use plastics. So 2 great things coming out of Nova Scotia. Yeah! I think one of the most amazing things and unforeseen and unexpected things for me living this way is to see the ripple impact that my actions have had on others in my life. So friends and families now living more sustainably because I've been leading by example. So change is happening, and we all have the power to be part of the solution. Thank you.